Hi, my darlings. I'm Sophie Darling, and welcome back to the channel. If you love anime, heartfelt reactions, and deep dives into symbolism and themes, then you're in the right place. Before we jump into today's reaction, don't forget to hit that like button to show some love, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a moment of fun. And if you want even more exclusive content like early access to my reactions, full length anime watch alongs, and an amazing community of fellow anime lovers, please do check out my Patreon. You can find a link in the description box below. Your support truly means the world as it helps to keep these reactions coming, and I'd love to have you join our cozy little anime family. Today, we are reacting to the finale of Attack on Titan. Should have done the intro. I've plenty of recordings of me saying the intro. I don't think it's the end of the world if there's a lack of continuity in terms of like me doing the intro and then wearing a different outfit or having a different hairstyle or my makeup being different. I don't really think it's that big of a deal. I always do the intro at the beginning of the video and I could just pre-record it and then insert it and then don't have to do it every time, but I don't know, I like the continuity, so it's gonna feel weird if I don't do it, but hey, it is what it is, like, I'm not gonna stress too much about it. Yeah, I am a tiny bit nervous. Chapter 2 wasn't too bad. Chapter 1 was heart-wrenching. Chapter 2 was a bit emotional, but not overly emotional. It was just seeing everyone coming together and working together that kind of really struck a chord with me, especially because I thought back to series 1 where Pixies and Eren are talking about how the only thing that would stop humanity fighting one another is if they rallied against a common enemy, and Pixies and Eren both agreed that that was naive and foolish and would never happen, but they were also talking in the context of Titans. They weren't necessarily talking in the context of people, but it still applies because if you think about it, Eren is a Titan. So they are banding together against a common enemy, which is Eren, who is in the Titan form. So technically it still applies. And I think at the time in which we're seeing that discussion, it's supposed to seem naive and idealistic, but we're actually seeing that this can happen. And yes, it may be temporary. Yes, it may not ultimately resolve anything in the long term, but it shows that humanity can work together if pushed, if there is a reason to do so. It shows that paradise is not the monsters everyone believed them to be. And I think it's just a nice aspect of foreshadowing, even back in series 1, that Eren would become the common enemy that humanity rallied against. I think it's just incredibly clever because it was right there in front of our eyes that Eren was going to become this monster. And we knew it in series 1 because obviously Armin talks time and time again about how if you can't sacrifice anything, you can't change anything. So the fact that Eren's willing to go this far to sacrifice so much in order to change the perspective of the world, even at the risk of becoming the enemy to his friends and putting his life on the line, shows that to some degree he does care about changing the narrative, changing the world. I know that people will die on the hill that Eren is doing this with purely selfish motivations, and I believe that aspects of him are selfish, and that's why we see him depicted as a child, because it's childish motivation, it's childish drive that makes him want to pursue this goal of freedom. But I do think Eren is somewhat fated and influenced as well. I think Eren is just incredibly complex. He's selfish and he's childish, but he's also driven by future memories. He's driven to pursue this goal of freedom by his future self. Eren is a slave to freedom. He's always been idealistic about being free. That's always been something he has pursued. But that combined with receiving the memories of the future, I think manifests into being his ultimate downfall, into him not being able to see any other way because it would impact freedom. It would impact his idea and version of freedom, but it would also impact the freedom of his friends, which is why we're seeing him potentially making himself the common enemy to establish their freedom, even if it means sacrificing his own life in the pursuit of granting them freedom and security and safety, because his whole goal has been to achieve freedom, to end enslavement, but to also secure Mikasa and Armin's safety. He wants to protect them. And I think the rumbling is his way of ending oppression, ending slavery on one hand. On the other hand, is motivated by his childish imagination that the world was supposed to be uninhibited and being frustrated that it wasn't, and that everything that's happening within the walls is also happening outside of the walls, and nothing really has changed. Everything is still the same. There's not this endless pursuit of freedom awaiting him because the world is occupied and the world is just as cruel as the world within the walls, and it's dashed that childish imagination that he had, and it's created this frustration and anger within him, which is manifested in this pursuit of wiping out the world. So I have Eren on one side wanting to protect his friends, on the other side pursuing his own selfish ideas, and that has coalesced into him doing the rumbling. But at the same time, there's also the side of him that's fighting against what he knows he's inevitably going to do. And I know people will argue with me about whether he is actually fighting against himself. I personally, at this point in time, still believe that's the case, primarily because if you go back throughout the series, there's so many instances of dialogue and the way that he reacts to Hannes and Sasha's death. And even as recent as episode 28, you can see that Eren is almost trying to rebel in some way against what he knows is going to happen, against the future that awaits him, almost as if he doesn't want to do this, but knows that he really has no other option, really no other choice, which is, again, why his friends still have access to their powers, which he could have stripped from them, because they are his act of defiance. They are the ones that can bring him down, that can put a stop to this, because he is a slave to freedom. He will pursue this at any cost. And the only way that that can be stopped is through his friends. And he knows that. And that's why he's allowed them to try and put a stop to him, because it secures their safety, secures their protection, demonstrates that those in paradise aren't the monsters everyone believes them to be, allows them to enter into the world and perhaps begin to take steps towards brokering peace or even speaking with others to form alliances. Again, I don't think peace is going to be truly established. We already know that unfortunately humans are fickle beings, and just because they say one thing doesn't mean that they will go on and do another, and it is far easier to fight one another than it is to sit down and actually talk and come to understand someone's perspective on the opposite side to yourself. It's far easier to hate someone because you believe that they're different to you than it is to recognize the similarities that you share. So I think violence is always going to be something that is inevitable, but I think part of this is trying to break the cycle and establish the idea that they can try and pursue a better future. Even if it's only temporary, it's worth trying and dying for. And I think this is Eren's way of doing it. Again, Eren is not a black or white character. He is very complex. There are varying motivations to his actions. Neither one is wrong, which is what makes him so compelling to watch, is because there isn't a singular answer as to why he does what he does. I believe there are 3 reasons why he does what he does, but ultimately, I do believe he is trying to rebel against himself in some way, that he's trying to defy himself because it's the only way that will put a stop to the rumbling. Because it's not that he doesn't want it to happen. He obviously wants it to happen because he's told us that that's what he wanted to do. That's what he thought would secure peace and security for his friends. But I also think the other side of him hopes that his friends would stand against him and in doing so become heroes. And that would grant them an aspect of freedom that they didn't have before and also amplify their voices in the future in trying to show that paradise is not what everyone believes them to be, that they're not monsters, they're not these heinous horrible beings that everyone seems to think they are. So I think selfish motivation, but also protection and security for his friends, that he wants them to live long and happy lives. He wants to end enslavement, but on the other hand, wants to defy himself and allow the world to come together and find a way forward together against a common enemy, which is him. He wants to end the oppression, end the cycle, but the way that he's going about it is obviously one that we condemn because it's genocide, it's ethnic cleansing. But I think there's an aspect of Eren that knows his friends wouldn't sit idly by and allow him to just do it, which is the defiant part. That's the part that he knows is going to happen. His friends will see him as the common enemy. They will unite with the rest of the world against him. They will bring him down. And in doing so, try and establish relative peace, because I don't think peace is ever truly going to be established because humans are innately greedy and also fickle beings and prone to anger, and a lot more issues would be solved if people actually sat down and talked with one another and tried to see the other side perspective. But alas, that never seems to really happen. But I think Eren's ultimate goal is to have his friends stop him so that he can defy what was fated for him to happen, because his future self had already shown him that that's what he was going to do and he wanted to do it. So this is the thing, when I say that he's defying his self, it's because there's two aspects to him, much in the same way that Reiner was split. So Reiner was split between his loyalty to the warriors and his loyalty to the scouts. He was torn between sides and that conflicted in him internally. He struggled with that immensely and still does somewhat struggle with that going forward. Whereas Eren is struggling with this intense drive to move forward towards freedom at any cost. And this other side of him that swore to give his heart to humanity and to dedicate his heart to humanity. I think we're seeing the two Erens in conflict. The Eren that is so desperate for freedom that he will sacrifice anyone and anything to achieve it. But at the same time, the Eren that cares deeply for ending the cycle and ending the violence that we are seeing replicated time and time again, whilst allowing his friends to live in relative peace and establish themselves in the aftermath as heroes, as those that stood up in the face of Eren's genocide to bring him down, that turned against their friend in order to save the world. And I think Eren wants them to do it because there's one side of him that's defying his fate and the other side of him that wants this fate to happen. Again, when I say there's two Erens, I completely understand that they are the same person, but I still think that Eren is heavily influenced by his future self, and that coalesces into him being so willing to sacrifice anyone and anything for that freedom, even at the cost of those that are oppressed being killed in the process. But there's also a side to Eren that doesn't want to do what he knows he's going to do, hence why his friends are allowed to defy him and fight against him, because he could have easily wiped them out if he truly wanted to, but he hasn't, because he wants them to live long and happy lives, and the only way to do that is to sacrifice himself in the process, and in doing so grant them the opportunity to work with the rest of the world against a common enemy. But yes, let's get into chapter 3. I keep saying I'm not going to have long intros, and then stuff comes to mind, and then I want to talk about it, and then we end up rambling. I think, God, this all together is going to be like 5 hours long. Oh, we're back to Emir. Okay. She did leave the gate open. Look at that little smile on her face.
手応えがねえはずだ。
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not
ジークは潜水の巨人と同
Zeke.
じやり方で本体を隠してる。
じゃあこの骨の山から縦1メートル横10センチの本体を探し出せってか。アルミ
分かってる。
He's trying to
1
think.
分後にここを吹き飛ばす。車力の巨人と協力してここから離れて。アルミ
Oh god.
僕の攻撃を想定しているエレンがこれで死ぬとは思えない。この骨をバラバラに吹き飛ばせばエレンやジークの位置が分かるかもしれない。
Oh, Armin. That must be such a hard decision for him to make, but he has no other choice.
何も捨てることができないものには
No!
何も変えることはできないだろう。
I literally said this in the
捨てなきゃ何も変わらない。
intro. If he doesn't let go of his
浜の希
connection
望
to
は捨て
Eren,
なきゃいけないんだ。
he can't change anything.
エレンを僕が
What the fuck?
アルミ
Oh! Oh! What the fuck was that? Like a minotaur or something?
動いてないぞ。
Oh no, please be alive. He's not alive, is he? He's dead. No, he's unconscious. It's fine. He's alive.
なあ、聞こえるか？アニ・レオンハートを知ってるか？俺の娘なんだ。
来るぞ。
Ooh!
誰だ。
Like mini errands. Oh, it's not mini errands. It's a mini female titan and a mini warhammer titan. Is there going to be a mini rhino? Wait.
少しでも傷があれば即座に巨人化したはずだ。つまり傷一つなく捕獲されている。だがエレンのケツの方に連れ去られた。
What's Eren's ass?
当選簿されてな。
Why?
俺が万全だとしてもあそこに突撃する選択はしない。
He can't transform because his friends are still in the
謝る
area.
な。俺が大鳥になり敵集団を引きつけるまで。
Keep calm, Mikasa.
それは無理だよ、兵長。
敵の正体が分かった。
She called him captain.
歴代の9つの巨人。始祖の巨人の力があれば無尽蔵に蘇らせることができるのでしょうね。戦うためだけに生み出された歴戦の巨人兵を。
そんなもん叶うわけが。
That's insane.
だから悠長なことは言ってられない。
おい、まさか
Pig! Oh my god, please don't die.
どう考えても最初に撃つのはここ。私の狙いは最初から一つ。待って消え失せろ悪
ピーク。
Giliad!
そいつの動きを止めろ。
I'm gonna have a heart attack. I can't cope.
残りの兵員で運用できる大砲は3門ほどしか。
Then that's what they have to
黙
do.
って見ていられる理由になるのか。敵の巨大な背中の上で。今も
Those who can't sacrifice anything can't change anything, even if it means sacrificing yourself. Oh my god. Levi. My icon. My love. My life. Even missing fingers. He's a legend. Oh my god, he's being followed by variations of himself.
意識が
Ew. Poor Armin.
即せするつもりか。いや、あの子だ。始祖ユミル。
She's protecting Eren.
だとしたら、始祖ユミルも
Well, that's what Eren promised her in exchange for her power, was to wipe out the world. Is he gonna see the centipede? Not centipede. I know it's something else, but it looks like a centipede. Berthold! He saw him crying back in series 3. That's just cruel to do that to Reiner. No. No, no. No, we didn't actually see him die though. I can't take this. Oh,
すまん、立体起動装置が破損したようだ。
John saved him despite everything.
引き上げられねえ。じゃあ手を離せ。もう一度ぐらい巨人化できる。それで地ならしで鎧ごと踏み潰されてしまいか。てめえの巨人は名前の割にしょっちゅう砕けてるからな。でもせめて死ぬところまであがいてみようぜ。俺たちは往生際の悪い調査兵団だからな。
He's one of them. He's a scout. Always has been. Oh, Levi. Is she gonna have to make a choice?
私は強いのでいくらかかってこようと。ミカさん、あんたちょっと邪魔。
Balgo! Oh, look at him soar.
いや、私もまさか本当に飛ぶとは思ってなかったんだけど。
She's just as shocked as everyone else.
もう行くしかなかった。アズマ人の船は沈んだ。ファルコの巨人化に耐えられなくてね。
Oh no.
空を飛べる確証もないのに。
Okay.
すべてを承知して行かせた。
They got off
私
though.
たちは地ならしを止めて思いに応えなきゃいけないの。それでアルミン、いやピークは。アルミンは巨人に囚われて命が危ない。アルミンを捕らえた巨人は尾骨の方にいるはず。兄、力を貸して。
Annie's gonna join the fray for Armin.
囚われてばかりだね。もちろん取り戻すよ。
She loves him.
頭骨の方だ。
一方でアルミンを救助する超大型の爆発が頼りだ。もう一方でエレンを狙ってうなじを攻撃しろ。もうエレンを気にかける猶予はなくなった。いや、そんなもの最初からなかった。
でもなんだよ。ファルコが飛ぶなんて奇跡が起きなければ俺たちはあそこで死んでただろう。
バカに言ってやりたいことはコマンドは。
There's no other choice.
俺だってエレンを諦めたくねえよ。でも兵長は俺のせいでもう戦えねえし、ただでさえ相手は始祖の巨人なんだぞ。手加減して何が。
Makata has to let go of her ties to Eren. She has to be the one to sacrifice anything to change anything.
エレンは
She has to make that sacrifice.
殺そう。
ミカサ、あんたはアルミンを救うことだけを考えな。それ以外は考えなくていいから。
Eren's her home. He's her family. But if you can't sacrifice anything, you can't change anything. And Eren's her ultimate sacrifice.
左腕にいる 両者と腕章の後
They're coming to help too.
おい待ってくれ
They want to help.
負傷者の手当てを頼みに来ただけなんだ
マーレ人のために散々前線に送り込まれてきたからな。
オルテルジャジン
There's other stuff to be worrying about.
いつの間に
There's other things to be focusing on rather than your old hatreds. Put that aside for once.
なんだ、こんな時にまで殺し合いかよ。
Did he execute the ones that turned on the audience because they disobeyed his command? Oh my god. Falco, please be okay. Look at him go.
じゃあライナー
頼むから死ぬなよ。
ああお前らもな
I've cried this entire episode. Well, not episode, this entire chapter. It's so cool. I'm so scared for Reiner. The music.
私も立体起動できたらな じゃん私が戦闘に向かない雑用係の巨人だと思ったら
So you don't know her?
勝つまで戦える何百回でもベルトルトまでくぐずに許せないあの豚か何かの巨人がどれ
Oh, it's a pig. It looked like a cow.
9つの巨人で言うと何なのあれあれはオカピでしょ
It doesn't look like a pig.
あのオカピか何かを尾骨に追い詰めてアルミンを
I guess to them it looks like a pig, but
どこにいる見つけてもこのざまじゃ足手まといかくそ
if I his leg,
奴の命令をしくじったことはなかった一度も
not even now.
なのに奴の最後の命令だけが
He
なぜ
promised him as well that he'd do it.
なあお前たちが捧げた命は
Angie?
他の命を踏み潰すためにあったのか違う俺たちが夢見た巨人のいない世界は呆れるほどおめでたい理想の世界だったはずだそうでなければあいつらの命と見合わ
And
ない
it can be that once more.
エルビ俺はお前を選ばなかったことに悔いはないお前らと同じ目をしたあいつに未来を
I
託した
said
こと
this back in series 3 that that's the reason he chose Armin, because Armin could see the future and the benefit of the future and the idealistic hope for what the world could be. I'm an absolute mess. This is ridiculous. Oh my god. Annie. She's so cool. It's like he's in the water of the tree, like Ymir when she became a titan, she was in the water.
みんなが死んでしまう
It's identical.
ピークジャンコニーミカサ兄 きろよ、カス野郎、役立たせ。僕は僕が嫌いだ。
No, you
ずっとお
don't.
前は僕を裏切り続けてきた。もらった命も期待も責任も何一つ何も返せなかったじゃないか。なのになんで死んでんだよ。動け
Almond.
動けよ。
My baby. He's so hard on himself. Oh my god. Nowhere to run. All the beauty of the world that's being destroyed. But in Eren's mind, all the sights that he finally gets to see. The baby is special because it was born into this world. And they'll give their lives to protect it.
ここは夢でも幻でも死後の世界でもない。
Is he in the pathways?
ここは道。ここは現実だ。エルディア人がみんな道を通じてつながっているから。それなら何かここでできるかもしれない。考えろ。
Zeke.
こんにちは、ジークさん。
こんにちは、エレンの友達。君もユミルに食われたか。
He's being forced to build like Ymir was forced to build for the royal family for centuries. I am an absolute mess. I think all I did that chapter was just sob. The symbolism of the baby, it's the only one in color because the baby is hope. The baby is the symbol of the future. It's special because it was born into this world. It's a reminder that everyone deserves to be able to live in this world. Eren's getting to see the beauty of the world, but at the same time, he's destroying it. He's ruining it. He's not free. His drive to freedom is a drive to destroy everything that's beautiful in this world. Reiner's mum thinks he's dead. And Eren and Zeke are gonna have an interesting conversation, I think, in chapter 4. But yeah, I was like, yeah, chapter 3 won't be that bad because, you know, chapter 4 was okay. Oh my god, I don't think I stopped crying for like the majority of it. Just the symbolism of John saying to Reiner that we're scouts, we don't quit, because he is a scout. He redeemed himself, he's fighting side by side with them. He's always been one of them, and to hear John say that is just everything Reiner could have wanted to have heard and more. It's better than anything Jean could have ever said to him, because Jean said, I will never apologize to you. So Reiner didn't want forgiveness, but that is Jean's act of forgiveness for Reiner. I am not okay. Not okay. This is not even funny. If this is chapter 3, I am like gonna be a mess for the whole of like chapter 5, aren't I? I just seeing Falco come to them in their time of need and just how quick and smart and agile he is, and Gabby is saying to Reiner, like, I don't need to be protected. I am a soldier too. I can fight and I will fight. I will protect people. I just genuinely was holding my breath for the majority of that chapter. I was just so scared. I was scared for Peak. I was scared for Reiner. The fact that they use Bertold as a puppet is just absolutely heinous. How they could then
turn that against his friends. It's just awful. It's so cruel to do. Really don't have much to say because I'm absolutely broken. I am bereft. That episode was just traumatizing and beautiful all at the same time. The people that were pushed literally to the edge of the world because there was nowhere else to go, but yet they still chose to save the baby. They chose to try and rescue the one aspect of good that's left in the world, which is the future generation. And yet, the baby's not likely to survive unless something drastic happens that stops the colossals. The baby's not going to live. The baby's going to end up dying too. But it's the fact that the baby's the only one in color after the mum falls off the cliff, and everyone else is in black and grey and white. And again, it just reiterates that everyone is special because they're born. Everyone deserves a chance to live and be free, not brutalized and genocided because of your pursuit of freedom, your pursuit of freedom at the cost of someone else's, your pursuit of freedom at the cost of the rest of the world and the beauty in it. I don't know how anyone, after seeing these scenes, can side with Eren and agree with Eren and what he's doing. I can't. I don't know how anyone in good conscience could sit and watch the horror and still believe that Eren is justified. And again, I get it, to protect your people, but it's not just that. We know it, that's not the only reason why he's doing this. And at the same time, he is killing people that have never oppressed Paradise, that were not involved in the oppression of Paradise. Innocent people, audience that were being mistreated and enslaved, other countries that were being mistreated and enslaved. He's punishing them as if they are equal to Malay. And even though Malay has attempted to pursue the idea of ethnically cleansing Paradise, because they haven't ethnically cleansed Paradise. There was the threat of it, but they never actually did it. Eren did. They didn't actually get to that point, and you could argue it's because Eren triggered the rumbling to stop that, but that was part of why they were going to do a test rumbling, was to hold them off from pursuing that end. But they never actually ever got to the point of doing a genocide or ethnic cleansing of the Aldean people. Their people were ethnically cleansed and genocided, but either way, their perspective of the Aldeans as being worthy of being genocided still doesn't justify Eren's actual pursuit of genocide against them, and I don't understand how that's so hard to fathom at this point in time. But yeah, I really loved the scene of Mikasa jumping up and the wings behind her like a Valkyrie. She's willing to sacrifice it all and to die for her friends, protecting humanity. It was just so beautiful. She had the wings outstretched behind her, and it was astounding imagery of how far she's willing to go, of her own flight for freedom and disenfranchising herself from Eren in pursuit of protecting her friends. And as much as she's heartbroken at the fact that they're going to have to put aside talking to him, that they're going to have to kill him because whatever choice that they have, she will have to make that sacrifice, because it keeps coming back to this idea of, if you can't sacrifice anything, you can't change anything. And to Mikasa, Eren is everything. So she will have to sacrifice her loyalty and connection to him if she wants the rest of the world to be saved. And I think that's what this is building up to now, is that she is going to have to make the ultimate sacrifice in her eyes, which is Eren, because he's her home, he's her family, he's her love, and she can't have that. And she has to sacrifice that for the greater good. And I'm not ready for the idea of that yet. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the endless sobbing. And yeah, it's just probably going to get worse from here on out, isn't it? That was an amazing chapter. I was on the edge of my seat. Didn't know what to say. I was so scared. I'm glad I didn't watch chapter 3 after chapter 2 because of how much I've just cried, because this would have been ridiculous. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to watch the final 2 chapters of the finale next weekend. Bye.